asked one of the generals, I said to him, "You're a good general, aren't you?" "Yes, sir, I am." I said, "So how do you compare to General Mattis? How do you compare to Mad Dog?" "Sir, he's better than I am." I loved it. I said, "I love you to say that." They love him. So we're going to be announcing him on Monday of next week. Keep it inside the room.
Just one of the interesting moments from last night that nobody was really expecting. That retired Marine General James Mattis is in as next Secretary of Defense. He'll have to go through the confirmation process, of course. Let's bring in retired four-star Army General Jack Keane, four-star General, Chairman of the Institute for the Study of War, and a Fox News military analyst who knows all the players very well here. General, good morning. Good to have you with us today.
Good morning, Martha.
So apparently he doesn't love the nickname Mad Dog, General Mattis, but his new boss used it last night with vigor when he announced him. But some will use that moniker against him and accuse him of being overly hawkish. Is that true?
No, absolutely not. I mean, certainly General Mattis, in the statements he's made, is a colorful military general, much in the tradition of many of our very successful battlefield commanders who have a lawn and esprit about them, charisma, and use all of that to help motivate their troops. That's what we have, and that part of Jim Mattis. And yeah, likely some will use it against him, particularly some of the rich language that he's used at times. But listen, the other side of Jim Mattis is simply this. I mean, he's very cerebral. He's contemplative, thoughtful, and quite studious. He's got something in the neighborhood of 7,000 to 8,000 books in his library, and they're not there for entertainment or to pass the time. He spent a lifetime of learning. I think of him as a closet intellectual, not in the academic sense that we think of intellectuals, but in the sense of a man who's made a commitment to continue to learn about life and about the issues that we're all facing as human beings. That kind of commitment to intellectual honesty and to intellectual learning is Jim Mattis, and it's reflective in his decision-making process, is effective in the contemplative, methodical way he looks at issues and the comprehensive way he receives information when he's going through the decision-making process. Yeah. So that's a fuller picture of the Jim Mattis the American people will get to know.
And we need a full picture of him. He is steeped in history, and as you say, is someone who reads a lot, understands a lot about the way that the world works, and is also someone, according to reports, who will sit in a room and listen very quietly for a long time and then present his take, and it's generally something that makes everybody turn around and pay a lot of attention. Does that line up with the way you see him?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in interpersonal relationships, despite the monocle of Mad Dog Mattis, I mean, Jim's reserved, and he listens and he pays attention. And when it comes time to speak his mind, it is done unequivocally, and you have a clear understanding of where Jim is coming from, because he is a straight talker and he's blunt, and everybody knows that and everybody appreciates that. The president, I'm convinced, will have an excellent relationship with him. We definitely have civilian control of the military here as the commander-in-chief, despite the fact that Jim is going to run the Department of Defense, having been a Marine Corps four-star general, and still actually is a four-star general. And that's going to be a healthy thing. It should be discussed by the Congress, quite frankly, because it's not done that often. But I think there's merit here, and why this should be done, because this country is at war. And I think President Trump, when he assumes that office, wants to recognize the fact that for the last 8 years, although we've been at war, we've had a president who's never embraced that war, Martha, who's never tried to win any of those wars. He's just tried to end them and pull the United States out. And in both issues, Iraq and Afghanistan, we have pending disasters on our hands as a result of those policies.
Well, Donald Trump will have a full plate thanks to that. And that friction over that issue is one of the reasons that General Mattis resigned from the previous administration. There was also a story I just want to throw in here, and we got to go, about the fact that after he resigned, General Mattis spent over 2 weeks driving across the country to visit the families of those who had been in battle with him, who lost their lives in those battles, and spent time with those families. was, which I think speaks extraordinarily well of him. And General, we got to leave it there, but we're going to talk more about this in the future. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Yeah, good talking to you, Martha.